What's going on, you guys? Welcome to status update numero due for my non-Italian speaking friends. That means status update number two. And we've got a jam-packed show today. I'll be honest with you all. I'm actually recording this on a Thursday, Friday. I've got a late show I got to do Saturday. I'm working Sunday, another late show, and then I was like, how am I going to do this before Monday? And I recorded it Monday morning last week. It was a little low T for my taste. I'll be the first one to admit I have some pretty thin walls in my apartment, so I've been told. And so I figured Thursday afternoon, what more could happen this week? The Sony Open's going on, Live Golf's doing their media week. And so yeah, I figured enough has happened already this week in the world of golf. There's enough material to talk about. I'll give it all out to you. Maybe I'll release it Friday. Probably not. I'm probably going to hold on to it until Monday, and then we can go from there. So, from an actual golf standpoint, let me be the first to congratulate Sony Open winner Denny McCarthy. Yep. Mm, yeah, he beats Brian Harmon by one, maybe two. Denny McCarthy, first PGA Tour win, long overdue. But let me tell you guys, it's been a busy week, surprisingly busy, and it started on Monday because we got to talk about the cat, Tiger Woods and Nike Golf. After 27 years, they have split their ways. I mean, just another heartbroken on the long list of Tiger Woods lovers, and I'm not totally surprised by this move because it's been rumored for a while. No laying up first had it, and in 2013, Tiger's 10-year contract extension was announced. 10 years, $100 million. Were they going to renew him in 2023? And there's a lot of nostalgia going around on the internet. Oh, Tiger, how could you do this? Oh, Nike, how could you not make your own TW brand like Air Jordan? How dumb could you be? Look at me. I'm just a golf writer, a golf fan. I know more than the people at Nike. I know more than the executives in the C-suite out there in Oregon. And let's just take a step back. Let's not have all this nostalgia cloud our judgment because Tiger Woods is a 48-year-old golfer past his prime. Let's call a spade a spade. He's been on TV, what, five, six, seven times since 2021. And so if you're Nike, you're a business who is down 20% this past year, you're looking to cut 2 billion in cost over the next 3 years. Are you really going to sign a 48-year-old man to what, maybe equity in the company to millions and millions of dollars? No. And you think about Nike, and I was saying this earlier in the week, they're getting beat at their own game currently. Nike started as a shoe company. They are a shoe and apparel company, but at its core, it's a running shoe company. And you look at Hoka, you look at OnCloud, you look at all these new brands just taking bites and bites out of their core business segment. And you see why Nike is struggling so much. You combine that with kind of consumer sentiment, not to bring out my bachelor's degree in finance or anything, not a big deal. But you see why Nike had to do this. And there were two telltale signs that Nike was going to get out of the golf space, which I believe they eventually will do. It might not be immediate, but I think within the next 5 years, Nike Golf will cease to exist. And the first, in 2016, when they closed their equipment, they closed the golf balls, they closed the golf bag, all that, and they focus on apparel. Okay, well, maybe they really want to get into apparel, Patrick. You just said they're an apparel and footwear brand. Yes, but in 2021, actually, in 2022, my mistake. When Tiger Woods shows up to the Masters in FootJoys and Nike doesn't decide to put the man hours or the R&D into building Tiger Woods a new shoe, I think that was the nail in the coffin. They already have the prime real estate on Tiger Woods. They have the front of the hat, they have the chest. Do we really need a swoosh on this guy's foot for X million of dollars over the next how many years? Probably not, because the writing's on the wall. And I think Nike executives knew that. I think they were okay with Tiger wearing FootJoys. And I think that was kind of the beginning of the end. As for what you will see next, I assume it'll be guys like Rory McIlroy, guys like Scotty Scheffler, going to new brands after their contracts expire little by little. You're going to be seeing the trickling effect. For Tiger Woods, however, based on who I've talked to, just a couple people in the clothing golf industry, and they all seem to think a tailor-made line with Tiger Woods is in the works. Tiger allegedly got some equity in TaylorMade when he signed back in 2017 that club deal. That would make a ton of sense. He still owns the TW logo. There's been some Grayson murmurs, but I mean, does that really fit Tiger Woods' style profile? Is Tiger Woods going to show up to Augusta National in a cashmere hoodie and joggers? No fucking way. It's a younger demographic. It's for JT. It's for, maybe his son Charlie, maybe for a Rory McIlroy. Who knows? But it doesn't really fit who Tiger is and what he wants to wear. And so I think a tailor-made line where I don't know if he's going to have a ton of creative input on it, but he'll be like, hey, this fabric is not stretchy enough. My biceps need to look better than this. Hey, my legs look a little chickeny. Can you not make it so tight? Stuff like that. Yeah, Tiger will have a say. And so I think the tailor-made line makes all the sense in the world. I don't see a world where he goes to Malbon, even though I floated that originally as a joke. It seems to have some legs. I don't know if they have the budget for that, honestly. And I don't think Grayson's gonna pan out. But maybe I could be wrong. Like I said, I'm saying this on Thursday. Maybe it'll come out on Monday. Who knows? Next, whenever we talk about Tiger, it seems like we got to talk about Rory McIlroy as well. And once again, Rory is talking after bowing out of the PGA Tour policy board after saying he has nothing more to say about Liv. Remember at the PGA Championship, he said, I don't want any more questions about Liv Golf. Uh, Rory's talking to no one's surprise, and he's out in Dubai this week. He talked to John Huggy Bear. I'll just call him Huggy Bear. I don't know him personally, but he's a great writer for Golf Digest, and he said a couple things. One, his ideal world is a global world tour with an emphasis on national opens like the Aussie Open, the South African Open, the ones in the UK, and obviously the elite historical events here in the US. You think about Riviera, think about Bay Hill, some of those courses should remain. And I don't think this is really anything new. A lot on the live side, who good people, some of them, and PGA Tourists, good people, some of them. They're like, oh, Rory's completely changing his tune. And like I said last week, it's okay to change your tune. And I think Rory's just reading the tea leaves here. And this thought of a global world tour has been around forever, pretty much. It's just gaining legs because there's $700 billion being thrown at the game potentially. So I've always wanted, since the announcement, not always, since the announcement in June of these two coming together, I think a Champions League style golf world is the way to go, where you bring everyone back under the PGA Tour umbrella. Bring John Rahm back, bring Brooks Koepka back, bring Bryson, Phil, Cam Smith, the whole lot. And you keep Liv, you might have to rebrand it. I'm not sure how it's going to work. And every, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 weeks, you have the top players in the world, Cirque du Soleil, traveling circus style, go play in a PGA Tour Plus event, go play in a live slash PGA Tour event, whatever that may be around the world. And maybe they choose to do something like this. Perhaps it's only in the fall, because here in the US in the fall, we don't give a shit about golf. We care about football, we care about football, and we care about football. And in the fall, we've seen some great events in Australia, some great events in South Africa. So it makes a lot of sense with the cadence of the sports world schedule to do it in the fall, but I'd like to see it spread out throughout the season. And then at the end, the playoff format, I think everyone agrees the FedEx Cup playoff is kind of, and so you can intertwine the team, the Champions League team into that, the team event into that. And so I assume these guys are all talking about various ways that they're going to link these two leagues together. I'm still positive about it. Maybe I'm the idiot in the room. I've been outspoken that I think there's way too many positives for the SSG, the PIF, and the PGA Tour to all come together for each party. And so I think by 2025, golf fans are going to be much happier with the product. We're going to be seeing the best players in the world more often. It might just be, in Australia. And so us on the East Coast of the United States, it's going to be tough to watch, but I think long term it's gonna be a positive. Rory also talked about playing more before the Masters this year, playing nine, maybe even 10 times before major number one here in April. And so I was looking through the schedule. I mean, how many tournaments can this guy play? He's playing twice in the Middle East. He's going to play in California, the Genesis, Pebble Beach. Maybe he plays in the Farmers in a couple weeks. Maybe he adds the Phoenix Open as well, even though it's not a signature event. And then you add in the Florida Swing, which is the Players API. Okay, that's what, like seven already? You got to add some more. So it might be a world where Rory McIlroy's playing in Texas the week before, like he did in 2022. He ended up missing the cut that year. I believe he was switching his golf ball as well, and he was testing it out, which is always something you want to do right before the major number one. I think last year he switched his putter as well. So maybe you don't need to play as much and be sharp. That's his goal. He wants to be as sharp as possible before Augusta. Maybe you just stick to your freaking guns, dude. You don't need to be switching your golf ball. You don't need to be switching your putter. You're a good freaking player, one of the best of this generation, if not the best. And just be confident in yourself. I understand everyone, all the green jackets are out there saying, "Oh man, we really hope you win this one." You play really well around here. I think this is the year. I get it. It's a lot of pressure. You're trying to become man number six to win the career Grand Slam. Just stop overthinking it, man. I don't need to know your Augusta prep. Let's hope that's the last we talk about Rory outside the golf course until April. Okay? I think we can all agree on that. Hopefully he plays well. Hopefully he wins a couple times before then, and we can all hype ourselves up. But let's just move on. And we got to move on to Will Zalatoris, someone who has also had some success at Augusta National, a runner-up to Hideki Matsuyama in 2021. Zalatoris returned this week from his back injury. He had the microdiscectomy, same surgery that Tiger Woods had on his back. And I think a lot of people out there are just assuming, wow, we forgot how good Will Zalatoris is. He's going to be just like the player he was. I don't know. And honestly, if he wins the Sony Open this week and this comes out Monday, I'm going to look like a complete fool. And I mean, it's possible. I look like an idiot more times than not. I'm batting below the Mendoza line when it comes to my takes and opinions and predictions, but at least I admit it, right? That counts for something. And so I think with Will Zalatoris, you got to remember back injuries fucking suck for professional golfers. They suck. He's 27 now. He's saying he's taken ice baths in between every round. He's much more weary and cognizant of each little ache and creak in his body, and that he might, be more cautious in that regard. And so I love Will Zalatoris. I think he's a great player. He's a great major championship competitor when you look at his record at the US Open, PGA in 2022, losing to Matt Fitzpatrick, losing to Justin Thomas by a single stroke in each instance, one in a playoff, and having success at Augusta National as well. Many believe he's a multiple-time major champion in the waiting. Why shouldn't you? I'm just expressing caution, just like Willie Z is, because back injuries are no fun. They limit you in every single way, not only on the golf course, but what you can do off it as well. The switch to the broomstick, he says he loves. It looked really bad in the Bahamas. Maybe it improves this week in Honolulu. Maybe it doesn't, but I kind of thought the switch to the broomstick wasn't so much stroke wise, because even though Will Zalatoris' stroke looks horrible, like is horrible, despite what Scott Fawcett might be tweeting about or screaming from his basement. It looks horrible. Fawcett has a point where it gets the job done in big moments. It does. And so I think the switch to the broomstick might have been something to do with the back. It's a lot easier to practice putting for an hour if you're standing up a little more upright and not so much bent down. Maybe I'm looking too far into it. Maybe I got my tinfoil hat on. We'll get to that later. But I think it's something to look at moving forward. All right, next. Speaking of tin hat, the coaching carousel has hit Professional golf this week, we had Pete Carroll, we had Nick Saban, we had Bill Belichick, all bow out of their respective coaching positions. But maybe more importantly, definitely more importantly, we had my man, the Blue Man Group, Keith Pelly, leave the DP World Tour, DP World Tour CEO Keith Pelly. He's coming back to Canada to lead the Aeronauts or something. I don't know what it's totally called, to tell you the truth. He's coming back to Canada. The Maple Leafs are involved. I know that it might be media, it might be a sports group. I'm not totally sure. He's gone. He's out of the DP World Tour. And this came on the heels of Martin Slumber's RNA CEO announcing he will be done in that position at the end of 2024. He's going to oversee the Open, the Women's Open, the Curtis Cup, and then he's out of there. And with moves of these magnitudes, and they're big moves, the DP World Tour is the second biggest golf league in the world, maybe third. Okay, we can give it third. We can put Live 2, DP World Tour 3. That's probably right. Sorry for the earlier mistake. The third biggest golf tour in the world is gone. And then you have one of the governing bodies, which granted 10 years for that position, typically around 7 to 10 years. So Martin Slumber's at 9. Makes sense that he's going to bow out now. But the thing with Slumbers, I'm not really interested in Pelly, to be honest with you. He he did switch from blue to red frames in his transition lenses. I guess you could say he transitioned from blue to red frames. Idiot. I got it. Okay. Mental note, re-record this. But the thing with Slumbers is he was pretty good at his job. And I think the same, honestly, for Pelly, despite what European fans are going to want to say. The DP World Tour is kind of always a feeder tour, and he just made it official with the strategic alliance with the PGA Tour that really didn't do too much favor to the fans. But for players, you now have a surefire way to come play on the PGA Tour. 10 new DP World Tour players got their card. And I think that's positive if you're a player. Absolutely. But sorry, I got to stop talking about Keith Pelly. Martin Slumbers, RNA CEO, he preached financial and golf course sustainability. I'd say those were his tenets as CEO. And we saw the commercial growth of the Open. He was influential in the world handicap system. He modernized the rules of golf. And I think one thing that not a lot of people noticed was he was pretty open to Yasser and the Saudi PIF throughout this all. He played with Yasser at the Alfred Dunhill Links Championship. Actually, I take that back. He played with Andrew Waterman at the Alfred Dunhill Links Championship. And the two have seemingly, I'm projecting, because that's what I do, I'm a talking head, have always had a good relationship. And so you think about this deal between the PGA Tour and the PIF, and there's been some names tossed around, none completely concrete, I would say. There needs to be a captain of the Enterprise Starship, and under the original framework agreement, that's Jay Monahan. He'll be CEO. Yasser will be on the chair or on the board. I forget the exact terminology, but that was the structure. I think by all accounts, a lot of people are assuming Jay's days are numbered, I think would be a nice way to put it. Does he get through 2024? Maybe. Does he get through 25? Maybe. But you have someone like Slumbers who has a good relationship with the PIF, has done a good job, I think, and come through on promises he made with a large governing body. I think, Mike Wan is a good CEO candidate as well over at the USGA. Him and Slumbers, hey, maybe they make it a co-CEO situation. Just bring it all together. Who knows? I'm projecting here, but I think anything of this magnitude with such a huge elephant in the corner of the room, it's hard not to at least think about how they could possibly tie together. Maybe I'll do some digging on it. I'm not the most well-sourced guy in the world. I have a few close friends, a lot of haters and losers, of which there are many of, but maybe I'll make a few calls this upcoming week. Maybe not. Last, I like to bag on Jay Monahan as much as anyone. I call him Jay Bird. I have a theory that he's kind of making his soft landing right now and going to return to Fenway Sports Group after the dust all settles. He's going to bring a sports league back to Boston, be crowned a hero. They're going to have a parade for him now that they won't have any for the Patriots. But the news of Farmers dropping their sponsorship of the Torrey Pines event after 2026 is not Jay Monahan's fault. I think you can make the case for Wells Fargo. That's a different conversation, I believe. Honda, not so much. I think Honda, they got boned by the schedule and they got sick of it. And the PGA Tour pretty much told them, like, hey, that's kind of the way the cookie crumbles. They ended up getting a new sponsor. That's great. Wells Fargo, different story. We can talk about that at a different date. But for Farmers, everyone's saying, oh, Jay, what are you doing, pal? And golf fans, and probably any sports fans, love to just be way too close to it. Extremely too close to it. It's oh, it's such a pain in the ass because let's look at Farmers, an insurance company who also stopped sponsoring Ricky Fowler, their longtime, I mean, like biggest athlete. They have pulled business out of Florida. They are pulling business out of California because both of those states are too risky. Hurricanes, wildfires, not great. And they just cut this past fall 11% of their workforce. Not great. So, does sponsoring a PGA Tour event really align with cost cutting moves? Probably not. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. And so, I think this says more, as much, if not more, about farmers and even to a certain extent the economy than it does about the PGA Tour. I mean, when I know the circumstances in the game has completely changed, but sponsors always change as well. It's part of the life cycle. There used to be the Dean and DeLuca, the Crown Plaza. I think those were the same event. The Booz Allen, AT&T National. All of these were tournaments before, and they're no longer tournaments. And so it's really just the life cycle sponsors go through. And despite people blaming Jay, which you can blame him for whatever you want, your love life, your bank account balance, that's fine. Okay. I'm the first one to do that too. I don't think you can blame him for the farmers dropping the sponsorship in a couple years because I think it says more about farmers. And honestly, in 2026 or 2027, they might be regretting it. The game of golf might be in the best place it has ever been, for all we know. So, just something to think about. That's all I got for you guys today. Status update number 2. I believe it was a great success. We did not get to the White Lotus season 3 like I promised. I apologize. It's on the back burner. We will get to it soon. We did not get to the Golden Globes. I believe that's what was on, or the People's Choice, perhaps. I'm not a Hollywood guy. I hate the Hollywood elites. Um, but yeah, I think this was a great episode. Hopefully, these takes and opinions have a little shelf life. Probably not. So I can post this bad boy on Monday, but I just want to thank you all for watching. We are over 130 subscribers already. I'm impressed. My goal for the year was 100. We got a decent amount of views on the first video somehow. I only had to pay like a couple hundred people to do that. Thank you to the children of China and India and Bangladesh. I know you love your golf. And so to producer Pat and Intern Rick, I want to thank you both. I am Patrick. This has been status update numero due. We'll catch you next time.